We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
Hello everyone, I'm Jen Fier. Together with my co-hosts Rochelle Ocampo and Cristina Pastor, we welcome you to Makilala TV. Guess who has a new book out? Why Should Guys Have All the Fun? It's a riff on Reginald F. Lewis's best-selling book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? While Mr. Lewis's book is about his rise as the richest Black American on Wall Street in the 1980s, Loida Lewis's book is a memoir about her marriage to Reginald. A marriage that is full of passion, love, and commitment, but also one that is complicated. Without getting ahead of the story, because we at Makilala TV were comparing notes while reading the book, let us welcome back Loida Lewis to our show. Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Well, congratulations, Mrs. Lewis, on your book, which we heard is very well received in our community. And it looks like you're having too much fun promoting it. So our question is, who is Loida Lewis?
Loida Lewis. Loida Nicholas Lewis. A girl from Sorsogon who fulfilled her father's dream to become a lawyer, took a tour of United States and fell in love.
Yeah, about
And
love.
that's the beginning. And that's the beginning of an adventure.
Yeah, so my question about love is that I was reading it that you wrote that was it the champagne or the dimples or the steady deep voice or the piercing dark eyes that made you lose your composure on your second date?
No. It was just somebody who was sort of equal to me, meaning to say, you know, I am a type A and he was double A. You know, I'm ambitious. He was more ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
So as we were talking on that first date, it's like, you know, we were having fun. We talked, you know, anything I say, he has something to say. And anything he said, I have something to say.
Yeah.
So para bang, you know, we were in sync.
Yeah.
So, you know, I accepted the second date.
Wow.
That's right. So what was the biggest misconception about Loida Lewis? And how did you address that in the book?
Well, you know, they see me as, on top of corporate America because, you know, I ran this billion-dollar empire.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, living in palatial homes. But that's why I wanted this book to show that, you know, just like every immigrant or, you know, somebody who's new in America, newly married to an African American, that we had, you know, we started low.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had checks returned for insufficient funds.
That's right.
So that's what I mean. I wanted the book to show everyone that I'm just like them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, highs and lows, poor,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah. When you were just starting out, right?
Yes.
You were both lawyers, right? Okay. I like that part too. Rochelle?
Yeah, I mean, as I was reading the book, it almost seemed like that you were trying to prove yourself, that you could be at the top of corporate America, that that your relationship with Reginald was genuine and not just, you know, like a gold digger. Like, was that one of the reasons why you wrote the book?
No. I wrote the book because, especially for women, that they should not be scared. We should not be scared on taking on challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Anything that is thrown to us, because we are women, because we are Filipina, we can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really what I wanted, your take on the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
About motherhood on the book is that you have a mother of two daughters, right? So when they're teenagers, did they ask you about premarital sex, considering, you know, and part of your book, you had to call your friend Jopi to question about what do I do?
Yeah, well, in terms of sex, I left that. But one thing I told them, you know, no abortion in this family.
Mm-hmm.
So be careful, okay? But if you're not careful, we will have no abortion. That's all. So, you know, it's not like don't go with anybody if you're not married. No, we're in America.
Yeah.
You know, it's very free sex. here.
But you said no abortion, but you had an abortion.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did you how did they, how did that go? It's like,
Yes.
Mom, but you did.
Yes. My husband had a secretary. On that Saturday, she called him and said, I have German measles. So that means he could be infected. And so we immediately got panicked and called the doctor downstairs in our building, who didn't know anything about German measles. So he injected me with German measles. And so the doctor said, no conception, you should not conceive within 3 months. And sure enough, I conceived.
Yeah.
So it didn't even occur to us we should have an abortion. For us to be the possibility of having a child, a baby that is with German measles, physically handicapped, there was no question of the religious aspect. Yes, an abortion.
So you had an abortion, but it was not conflicting to you because your health was
No, it
most
wasn't.
important.
It wasn't that my health. It's how do I manage a physically handicapped child? Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I know, being raised in the Philippines, we have yaya, but we have nothing here.
Okay.
Okay, and my husband too. So it will be something that both of us, we believed at 27 could not handle. So there was no religious aspect.
And yet, early on, you contemplated becoming a nun, right?
I had a
Yeah.
date.
Yeah.
I had a date.
How did those two circumstances in your life? How did you manage those two?
No. After the abortion, I was crying because I knew that it's a life, okay? And I wrote my father tear-eyed. But I know that God is a loving God. And so that keeps me humble, that at a moment in my life, I did something that should not have been done, but something that we did and that we decided we will do. So, I am a sinner just like anybody else.
Oh, yeah. We all are.
Yes, we all are. Yeah.
Rochelle?
No, I actually admired that you recognized for your younger daughter, Christina, that you could have done more for her mental health after the following of her father's death. What is your advice to moms who want to connect more with their daughters or need to seek professional help?
Yes, no, definitely. They are, I wish at that moment that when I consulted a psychiatrist or a therapist, that she asked me, she didn't, do you want your daughter to have a therapy? She was 12 at the time. And I wish I said yes. So for mothers, okay, if you can afford it, and I think you can, there are many therapists that adjust.
Yes.
Ask your pastor, your priest,
Yeah.
and I encourage them to get therapists for their daughter or son. It's very helpful.
When I was reading your book, I was either crying, laughing, I was shocked and intrigued and also inspired. And there's a chapter in the book called Dragons and Monsters, and you wrote, he comes home one night, fired up over some work-related slight. He glares at me with that intimidating, again, deep set of eyes, and despairingly growls, you don't know where I live. How does that, when you first heard that, how did you react and how did that make you feel?
No, that was like, wow, that like straight into my heart, because I consider myself a Christian, very sensitive. And for him to say, you don't know where I live, I said, wow, that means to say, I don't know what was the ambition, what makes him run. And therefore, it was sort of like, go back, Loida, you're not listening enough, you're not sensitive enough. And so after that, it's almost like very active listening. Where is he? All right? And so, dragons and monsters, because he is black, when he's out there, you don't know what it is. That black in the America is really like your head is in a vice.
Yeah.
So when he comes home, it's like, why are you late? No, you say, darling, have you eaten?
Yeah.
So you adjusted.
No, it's not adjustment. That's what he needs.
Yeah.
You are a team. You are, partners, a team together. So when he comes home, he should have an oasis, you know, drinking fresh water, not somebody who's scowling you're late, you know. How is that?
Yeah.
He'll go away.
That's right.
Okay, so you are the fresh water that he needs, and that's what I became. No, not became. I try.
And you even learn how to cook.
I learned how to cook, but one time, Mrs. Fugit, that's my mom in love, not mom-in-law. She said, well, Loida, one time he told, I can't understand it. She cannot cook a blip blip hamburger. And then my mom said, well, Reg, it's good. She has not been taught how to cook. Oh, yes, you have a point. And she never heard him complain anymore. I can't cook hamburger perfectly, but I can cook fried chicken. I learned from his mom.
So when, if Reginald is still around, do you think you would have been able to write a book like this?
Mr. Lewis always said, our life is private. But when he died, I said, no, your life is very inspiring. So I saw to it that the book that he was writing should be finished. And that's when I hired Blair Walker. And that's the book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?
That's right.
So 30 years after he died 30 years ago, I said, I was only chapter 6 in that book. So now I should write my story. And that's why I titled it, Why Should Guys Have All the Fun?
Yeah, that's right.
And the full title is An Asian American Story on Love, Marriage, Motherhood, and Running a Billion-Dollar Empire.
You, when you wrote the book, did you get people to read it before it comes out? And who are these people who got a first taste of your book?
Yes,
aside from your daughters.
Well,
maybe.
when I was writing the part when we were here in New York with my sister and my mother, I had to send it to my sister, to Melly. Melly Nicolas is younger than I am, and you know, I introduced her to my boss, Ray Glover, an African American, and Harvard also, and he was fast. They were going out on a date immediately. So that Friday, that's when I met Reginald Lewis.
Yeah, that's right.
He said, Loida, why don't we have a double date? I'll fix a blind date for you. So, blind date? Sure. Ready for adventure.
Wow. And this was the nun. So there are so much details in the book. Do you keep a journal? How do you remember all that stuff?
No. I kept a journal only after he died. Yes, yeah. It's sort of like to help me, you know,
It's like therapy.
because I cannot talk to my mother, and to talk to somebody else, you know, they might not take it wrong. So the journal is a way of expressing what I have, and it's sort of copied after the Jesuits, the examen, meaning you write what made you happy, what made you sad, consolation, desolation.
Yeah.
So it's a form of therapy.
I actually, I laughed out loud when you recounted telling your late husband, if you ever cheated on me, I don't want to know, because Filipino women are dangerous when they're angry.
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
yes.
Other than that incident, did you ever unleash your Filipino anger at anyone?
You mean at him?
Not at him, at anyone,
And then-
other than him.
Yes. I cannot stand incompetence, inefficiency, and stupidity.
Okay.
So I get wild up on the telephone when somebody is, yes, I do. I do get angry. And so for Lent, because it's Lent, one of my giving up is giving up impatience.
Okay.
Giving up
That's
being
very
anger.
healthy.
Yes.
What was your writing process like? What is the best time for you to write? Is it when nobody's around, you're very quiet in a solitary room, or you can write anywhere?
Well, no. For anyone who's a writer, you need time. And in fact, I started writing this 5 years ago, before I turned 75. But the pandemic hit and I stopped writing. I don't know why. But during the time, I said, 2 months out in the Hamptons. So so the first part I wrote quietly. Hamptons happened, and then I'm turning 80. So
You
I
have to
said,
finish.
Blair Walker. Blair Walker is the co-writer of my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Blair Walker, help me. You know already half of my life.
Yeah,
You know,
Oh.
let's finish it. And that's how I got it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, because when you wrote the first book that you wrote, How to Get a Green Card, you were in Paris. You have your own place, and you did that, and now you're in Southampton. Wow, what is it like to have? Like, I know in the beginning you said like you were told that you will be very rich, like you will be very wealthy.
My mother believed in fortune tellers, and she went to a fortune teller and said, your daughter, your eldest daughter, is going to be very rich.
Oh.
Okay, she told me that. And,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a fortune teller. You know, she can be just saying it
Yeah.
for.
But it stayed in your mind that you'll be like up there.
Well, only after my husband reached the top that I remembered.
What was that moment when you know you will be settled? You don't have to worry about money, and how does that feel?
No, wait. When he died, the company was not sold. So his aim is to create wealth. So it was up to me to finish his work.
Right.
Okay. So that's why when it was time, after I got myself together, and his brother was running the company, so both of us were interviewing candidates.
For
You know,
CEO.
we paid a lot of money to an agency. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of them were, 4 of them were white. 1 of them was Puerto Rican. But the company is known as African American. But that doesn't matter. You know, the second one is they are asking a lot of money. Okay, it's okay. All right, ask your money. But the third one is I asked them, okay, can you make it successful? I'll try my best. Try your best. So what if you fail? Okay. So instead of saying, why did you fail? It points to me. So at that moment, after prayer, it was very clear. Take over.
That's
take
very
over.
hard.
Yeah.
You're liquidating billions or millions. Like you have assets, the assets in France, and you know, in Europe, in different, and you have to decide which one you have to let go.
No. Initially, when you buy a business, have always in mind your exit.
Okay.
Are you going to run it for the rest of your life? Are you going to go public? Are you going to sell it? So in his mind, it's going to be sold
Okay.
either publicly or sold to
But
another
it's not
company.
there anymore for you to get advice. So who did you turn to?
Okay, no. So when I took over,
Yes.
okay, I knew that eventually we will exit.
Correct.
So when did I decide? I decided when from Prix and Leader Price, the big supermarket company in France, there is a time bomb. Meaning to
Right.
say, when Mr. Lewis bought the company, he said, in 7 years, you can demand that we buy
money.
you out 49%, or we will ask you to sell us at a multiple of 13 and 50. Multiple means you have a cash flow times 10. That's the value of the company. So this time, it's 13. Cash flow times 13, cash flow times 15. And if we wait, because it's a company that goes up, by the time that 1997 comes, it will be a huge financial obligation. So I had to make a decision. We will wait for that, okay, to happen. So, and at that time, France passed a law. No more supermarket can come in France. So all the supermarket business in France moved up. Multiple of 38.
Yeah.
And here is multiple of 15 and 13.
Wow.
So there's a huge flow. So that's when I made the decision.
Was he talking to you about those things when he was?
No.
Were you in on his business ideas and concepts?
I was a very good listener. I'm a very
That's
good
the key.
listener. Yes, because, well, actually, one time he was just raving about this guy who's not doing this and doing that because he was going to buy a company. And I said, oh, you're going to buy it. And then he immediately snapped, oh, you don't know anything about buying companies? I don't know, darling, but I know you'll do it. Yeah.
That's
so,
right.
in other words, for us, whether it's a man or a woman, when your partner is down, why are you going to kick him? Oh, that was wrong. Why did you tell that?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, what kind of common sense is that?
Yeah.
So when he comes home, he would, flagellate himself for what he did. So my role was, no, darling, that was correct. He deserved it. Okay,
Yeah.
that was right. Don't worry about it. That
Yeah.
was the right thing to do. So you have to boost up,
Support him.
you know,
yeah.
support your spouse, support your best friend. Nangyari na. It happened already.
Yeah.
So are you, if it's not being intrusive, are you $1 billion? Is your net worth a
Well,
billion
it's your
dollar?
net worth. We never talk about money.
Is it at least $1 billion?
Yes, it's very
Pesos
persistent.
maybe.
Okay, go ahead.
I think so. When I was reading the title, you know, why should guys have all the fun? I was looking forward to seeing how you were going to have fun. So, what were the perks of being on top of, or being a $1 billion empire boss?
Well, for one thing, we had our own jet plane.
Yes.
Wow.
At $3 million a year to keep.
3 million, exactly.
wow, yeah.
So that was the first thing that left. Okay, I sold it
Oh,
immediately
okay,
because, you know, when Mr. Lewis, a strong leader, died, okay, recession in Europe for the first time since World War II. Our business is 50% ice cream, and that summer when Mr. Lewis died, it rained in Spain and Germany and France and Norway and Italy. I mean, so our earnings were down. And what can you do? Okay, cut expenses. So that the jet plane was the first one to go.
But the jet plane was a perk. What other perks?
What other perks? Yeah, you know, getting invited by the Rothschild. Okay,
Oh, wow.
to a ballet, to the
Yeah.
you know, the Paris Ballet Company.
Right.
Going to the best restaurants, no matter how expensive it is.
Yeah.
Having
Those
your
are-
own personal chef.
Well, we had that. We had that. Yes, even here in we had Dalma Walker and we had Patrick Laurence in France. Yeah. So yes,
so
yes,
good.
those are the perks, definitely.
Were you?
And a housekeeper.
Oh, when you took over the company, were you? Did you encounter, resistance or not resistance or indifference from people around the organization because you're Asian or because you're Filipino?
Well, for one thing, Mr. Lewis was very smart. He has 51%. And so in the company, if any of the board of directors cross me, I can dismiss them.
Oh,
Meaning to say, I have 51%. I can choose
Yeah.
and vote for whoever I want. So that's one. Secondly, you know, as a woman, as a Filipina, or whatever color you are, if you look for discrimination, you will find it. You look for ugliness, you will find it. And so I never even noticed, oh, will they say I'm a woman? No. You know, we own the company, I mean 51%. The wealth of the company will directly affect my family and all the other shareholders. And so I didn't even listen or heard or anything like that. I knew I had to take over, take responsibility for myself and my family.
I
So
think-
no hesitation.
that's
I think that's what Mr. Lewis wrote in the book too, it's in the book, is that he doesn't care about labels or like tags or anything like that. Well, we're closing to the end, but I have like two more questions. Is that, like, let's say you always have a group of network of friends and families since high school, college, and then your personal assistance since the beginning is still there. So my question is, so let's say it's the Armageddon, and you need to choose 3 people that will make the A team, the dream team that will help you survive this Armageddon. Who will be these 3 people?
My 2 daughters.
Okay. And who's the other one?
And the third one
I
would
have to
be
pick.
Careful.
a scientist who will help us get out of.
Very
yes,
smart.
Yeah.
Do you have a
thank
plan?
you.
Because we want to learn this plan.
We'll go
Yeah.
up to your Central Park place and look for you.
Yeah, but over and beyond that, what kept me solid, what kept me steady is faith. And I am so glad that I am Filipina, raised as a Christian, as a Catholic, because in the end, everything can go wrong, but there is always God who loves me, who loves us. And therefore, I think that self-confidence that God will not leave me orphan. I will not be left without help. And I think that made me take on any challenge.
Yeah.
And then I think that's why I wrote the book, to tell people, women especially, Don't be afraid to take on challenges. Face it, take it on. You never know. What if I fail? You fail. There is always tomorrow. Okay, don't be afraid of failure, because failure is another teaching moment if you learn from it.
So people out there who still don't know you, why should they buy this book? Why they should go out and read this book?
They should buy it because it will show them that me, who said you're up there, is just like them. I've had sorrows, deep sorrows, having your husband die at 24 years of marriage. We didn't even reach 25. Okay, beginning having checks bouncing because I had no money in the bank, and just I want them to read the book because they will find hope, and they will find faith, and most of all, love. Okay, love your spouse, love your children, because in the end, we are going to judge by how much we love.
I love
See that. So the book is available on Amazon.
Yes, it's available now in your bookstore, local bookstore, or if you don't want, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. Yes, all of that.
They can pre-order, right?
Well, they can order it.
They can order it
anytime.
now. Okay,
anytime. They can order it anytime.
I think there's what's the name of that the website? Why should guys have all the fun?
Yes, that's on the website.
It's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and wow.
Even TikTok.
Oh yes,
really?
TikTok.
And LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn,
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
it's everywhere.
Yes,
This
yes.
is a truly fascinating interview. I wish we could go on because we have like a ton more questions. But if you want to know more, you have to buy the book. There's a lot more in there. As I said earlier, you will you will laugh, you will cry, and you'll be inspired because you could, if you dream and work hard, it's really the fruits of your hard work.
Yes. You have a very brave book. Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
brave.
you. Okay, but hard work is just not enough. You must have a goal. Okay? Set a goal. And if you are a student, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, is that your goal, to have a boyfriend? So set a goal.
Yeah, so set a goal. Thank you.
Finish that. Yeah.
So Mrs. Lewis, again, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing your fascinating story. And as she said, Mrs. Lewis said, everything will be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end. So our viewers, thank you for inviting us to your homes, to the casting crew. Maraming salamat. Until next time, sa ulitin here at Makilala TV.